On the morning after Christmas, in a quiet neighborhood in Boulder, Colorado, a 6-year-old girl named JonBenét Ramsey is reported missing. There is a ransom note on the stairs. Her parents call 911, and within hours she is found inside her own house, unalive. And the part that still hits people hard is this. The crime scene is the family home. The note is long, and the investigation explodes into the public eye before the day even ends. Boulder in 1996 is a college town with money pockets and calm streets. The kind of place where people leave lights on for the holidays, where neighbors know each other, where serious crime feels distant. JonBenét is known locally because she competes in child beauty pageants. Her photos are already public. Her family is prominent. Her father, John Ramsey, is a business executive. Her mother, Patsy Ramsey, is a former pageant queen. They live in a large home on 15th Street that, on paper, looks like one of the safest places a child could be. On Christmas Day, December 25th, the Ramseys attend a holiday party at the home of family friends. Later that night, they return home. According to the family, JonBenét is put to bed. The house goes quiet. Early the next morning, December 26th, Patsy Ramsey says she wakes up and finds a ransom note on the back staircase. The note says JonBenét has been taken. It demands $118,000. It gives instructions about waiting for a call, and it is not short. It is multiple pages long, written inside the house, left on the stairs. At 5:52 a.m., Patsy calls 911. That call is public. You can hear the urgency. She reports her daughter is missing. She mentions the ransom note. Police are dispatched immediately. An officer arrives at the Ramsey home and begins searching. At this point, the situation is being treated as a kidnapping with a ransom demand. It is also being treated like a missing child emergency. Friends are called over. A victim advocate arrives. People move through the kitchen. Phones are used. Rooms are walked through. The house is not sealed like a major crime scene yet. Everyone is waiting for the call promised in the note. Police check doors and windows. They look through rooms. They do a cursory search of the basement. JonBenét is not found in those initial sweeps. And then hours pass. The deadline mentioned in the ransom note comes and goes. No phone call, no instructions. The pressure starts to build in real time inside the house, with officers still present and more people arriving. Late in the morning, an officer asks John Ramsey and a family friend, Fleet White, to search the house from top to bottom for anything unusual. John and Fleet go down to the basement. John opens the door to a small storage room, and there JonBenét is. She is unalive. John carries her upstairs. The moment that happens, the entire case changes. This is no longer a missing child. It is a homicide investigation. But by then, the house has been walked through for hours. People have moved freely. Evidence has potentially been disturbed. And now the most critical discovery happens in the most uncontrolled way possible. Police attempt to regain control of the scene. JonBenét's body is placed in a room and covered. The house is finally locked down. Later, an autopsy is conducted. Authorities rule her death a homicide. Investigators also report signs consistent with prior injury and assault. This becomes one of the most sensitive and contested aspects of the case. It intersects evidence, family, and public perception all at once. Officially, the case is treated as an unaliving caused by violence. Detectives begin looking at every possibility, including the idea of an intruder and the idea of someone inside the home. The ransom note immediately becomes one of the most important pieces of evidence. It is unusually long. It references $118,000, an amount close to John Ramsey's recent bonus. It is written on paper from inside the house, using a pen from inside the house. Police also note that there was a practice note started on the same pad. Handwriting analysis is conducted. Multiple experts examine the note. The results are not definitive. They do not produce a single conclusion that can be used to charge someone in court. The note remains debated in official records and reporting, never becoming the one piece of evidence that locks the case in a single direction. The scene also produces physical evidence. Fibers are collected, items are analyzed. DNA testing becomes a major focus as technology advances. One key detail enters the public record. DNA from an unknown male profile that is reported in connection with JonBenét's clothing. That unknown profile becomes central to later arguments supporting an intruder theory. But it is complicated. Trace DNA can be transferred in different ways. Its legal weight depends on context, mixture, and how it fits into the totality of the evidence. It does not, on its own, close the case. In the first days, Boulder police interview family members, friends, and anyone who had been near the home. The Ramseys cooperate through their attorneys. They also participate in media interviews, which brings intense scrutiny. The case splits into two worlds: the investigation world, where evidence must be documented and proven, and the media world, where every delay looks like guilt and every emotion looks like performance to someone watching. Boulder Police and the Boulder District Attorney's Office do not always move in lockstep. That matters. It affects timing. It affects public perception. The FBI is consulted. Outside experts are brought in. The neighborhood is canvassed. Tips pour in from across the country. The case becomes a national obsession. JonBenét's pageant photos appear on magazine covers. The ransom note is analyzed line by line on television. And the family lives inside a spotlight that never turns off, while detectives try to build a case that can survive a courtroom. As time passes, one question refuses to fade. How does a child end up unalive inside her own home with a ransom note on the stairs and no one charged? In 1999, a Boulder County grand jury is convened. Grand juries do not decide guilt. They decide whether there is enough evidence to indict. Their proceedings are secret. That grand jury votes to return indictments. Those indictments are not made public at the time. The district attorney, Alex Hunter, chooses not to sign and file them. No arrests are made. Officially, the case remains open. Years later, in 2013, court-ordered releases reveal what those indictments were. The grand jury had voted to indict John and Patsy Ramsey on charges including child abuse resulting in death and being accessories to a crime. That is not a conviction. It is a finding of probable cause. The prosecutors still declined to move forward, stating the evidence was not strong enough to prosecute. Patsy Ramsey dies in 2006. In 2008, another turning point arrives. Boulder District Attorney Mary Lacey publicly announces that the Ramseys are exonerated by her office, largely based on the interpretation of DNA evidence. She issues a letter apologizing for the scrutiny the family endured. But the story does not end there. Boulder police do not adopt that exoneration as a final resolution. Later reviews and reporting continue to challenge how definitive that declaration can be. The case remains officially open with the Boulder Police Department. Over the years, additional testing is conducted. Different investigators take different looks at the note, the timeline, the entry points, the neighbors, the tips. The core result does not change. No one is charged with unaliving JonBenét Ramsey, and so the outcome is a heavy one. There are facts that do not move. A ransom note was left inside the home. A 911 call was made before dawn. Officers responded. Friends were present. JonBenét was found in the basement later that morning. Everything else remains suspended. The case exists in that space between evidence and interpretation, between what can be proven and what can never be undone, between a family's private tragedy and a public fixation that never fully lets go. JonBenét Ramsey never received justice. And the reason this case is still spoken about, still examined, still argued over, is because the ending never arrived. It just stayed open.